Alright guys, so while I'm link leveling some characters, I wanted to make a video going over a guide on how to beat these two EZAs. They're coming out tonight. Comes out at 2 a.m. my time, so a little over 12 hours, like maybe 13 and a half hours from now. So from the time I'm recording this. So I'm gonna go over like the best teams or the way you want to go about beating these guys, and then I'll give some final thoughts on their EZA after because it's been a couple days since I've seen some gameplay, and I would say my thoughts kind of differed from the original video, but we'll go ahead and go through their EZA. So we have them right here. They're both coming out tonight, so it's gonna be 60 stones. Pretty nice rewards. If we go through, so we'll start off with the Spirit Bomb Goku. So he's an LR, so it's just only going to be 10 stages, which is, I wish they would just do this for all the EZAs. They just make them 10 stages and give 3 each, but you can't wish for everything. But so he is weak to target Goku. He is not weak against any specific typings. It's just more or less like every other LR EZA. You really want to use characters that are LRs because you get a damage buff. You get a pretty sizable damage buff against his damage reduction right here. When what's it called? You get a pretty good damage buff when you have legendary power active. So if we go right here and we look at the target Goku category, obviously I would say this is not the greatest category. It only really has one leader, Android 13 right here. I actually have this guy, but I don't have him awakened, so I might have to go awaken him real quick. I just never cared for to awaken him as of right now, but I probably should and link level him and all that. But so you basically want to focus LRs and then specifically, I guess, tech LRs. And the only problem is like, you know, like Super 17 doesn't work great with like Broly, and Broly doesn't work great with Cell. So it's like you're literally going to be linking these guys up just for legendary power, but they're gonna have like no key, they're gonna have like no attack, like it's not gonna be the greatest. It's gonna be kind of messy. I don't think this is gonna be like a hard EZA per se right here, but it's gonna be kind of annoying, especially because, like, you know, these two guys are summonable, so I'm not expecting everybody to have them. So it's like at that point your only option is this free to play LR, which, you know, he's free to play, but he's kind of annoying to farm up to. So you just want to build a bunch of LRs together. I feel like Cooler is not a bad option because, like, I know he has type disadvantage, and like I think even if he does crit on his super attacks, he's not gonna do that much damage, because I feel like even though, you know, crit is supposed to negate defense, from what I know, he will still negate a lot of his damage because he's SCR. I mean, I guess we'll see once we actually get the EZA, because I mean, it says right here that he's not really weak, or he's not reducing damage specifically against any typing. It's just, he just reduces damage just in general. So we'll see how it goes, but you can build a target Goku team with all the tech LRs, and then like you can bring like Cell maybe to work with this guy, and then you can maybe bring this Broly to work with the tech Broly. Just for links, this guy will be super effective against all types, even if he doesn't crit if you have him, because there's gonna be a Goku family category enemy, so he will be super effective against all types. He does guarantee double super. He gets key when there's a pure Saiyan enemy. So depending on if this Goku actually does reduce damage against STR units, regardless if they're like super effective or critting, I mean, I feel like it's still worth it to bring this guy just to have him link up with this guy, and then just have this guy be kind of one of your main damage dealers. Super 17 is, I mean, like, you can bring him, but I just feel like who are you gonna link him with? Like, oh boy, like, I mean, I guess one of these guys, you could bring one of these guys literally just for links for him, but then you're not gonna have legendary power, which is the most important thing. If you have these two, or just these three in general, you can bring all three of them. You can bring him as well to link up with this guy. So it's, I don't know, it looks a little messy. I don't think it's gonna be that bad. It's just gonna be a little bit annoying for some free-to-play players if you don't have some of these summonable LRs. Like, I would assume most people have like Cell and Cooler, especially Cooler, because he is on the current banners right now. So I would assume most have him. I'm not gonna assume a bunch of people have Golden Frieza because he's pretty recent and no one, like, I feel like after the 77 multi, people might have him. So I guess like another team you could build is a Conquest of Terror / movie boss team with Cooler being as your leader. So you'll be able to bring these three. Other units that you could bring is like this tech free to play Cooler. Like the only thing with this Conquest of Terror / movie bosses team is you're not gonna be able to bring that many LRs. You can still bring these two on that team, and then you can bring all these guys, but then past that point you can also bring this guy. But past that point you're not gonna have any, like, you're gonna have to maybe bring some TURs. I feel like maybe bringing one TUR as like a support unit wouldn't be bad. But yeah, I don't really see any like universal support units on here because I think this guy supports, but it's only for, well, yeah, you could bring this guy if you're gonna run the Conquest of Terror team because he does support. So yeah, you can just bring this guy as your last unit, and then you can just make a cooler team with like this guy, like even these guys. I guess these guys are gonna suck, but they do have that extra passive against Super Saiyans right here. So I mean, they will have that up. So you know, there's that for you. And then you can bring the two Brolys right here. I don't think the Brolys are gonna get the support because they're not on Conquest of Terror, but they are on Target Goku. So let me know what teams you guys are using for this. I will probably just awaken my Android 13 and just build a team with all these tech LRs and just try to make it work. But hopefully it's not too bad for many people. There are some free-to-play units, like you can still use TURs here. It's just, it's going to be a little bit harder to beat them because, again, you do so much more damage when you have Legendary Power active. If you don't have Legendary Power active, he reduces quite a bit of that damage. So like you could probably still beat it, it's just going to take way longer. If you're trying to beat it the fastest and the best way, you want to go mainly LRs and then like mainly like tech LRs, or like you probably don't want to go too heavy SDR because, you know, that's type disadvantage. But you know, some options here I feel like Cooler in this Broly might work because Cooler, a lot of Coolers are built full crit, and then this guy is built like he already has super effective, and you probably want to build him full crit as well. So yeah, so that's it for the Spirit Bomb Absorb Goku EZA. So we'll go to close out these two tabs. Now for this guy, he is weak. So let's see. So in the final stage, he is weak against these guys. So he's weak against Super AGL. Wait, is that Super AGL? Additional damage reduction against Super AGL, Super Attack, Super Int, Super SDR, Super Physical, Extreme Int, Extreme Physical. So you don't want to use any Super type units, from what it seems like, because he reduces the damage against that by quite a bit. I mean, you could probably still use Super AGL just for defensive purposes, but it seems like he's going to reduce the damage against that, which is surprising. And then Extreme Int and Extreme Physical. So he is weak against high speed battle or accelerated battle. These are the leaders right here. You probably don't want to, like, I mean, if you have this LR, I would say try to bring them over, what's it called, him, but, I mean, you could bring him to it, just like he is going to be type disadvantage, and he's going to be super physical, so he's not going to do damage. Like, I think even if he crits, it's not going to do damage, so if you can, I'm not expecting people to have this LR, but if you have them, I would probably recommend bringing them over him. But in terms of the team, so they want you to use extreme units, and specifically extreme AGL. So I would say a rotation of this guy and this guy could help you out quite a bit because these guys both share quite a bit of links. Let's see, who else on here is pretty good in terms of Extreme AGL? Cooler. You can link up this Cooler with like a Frieza, or you can link him up with, I think you can link him up with the Metal Army Corps as well. I was gonna say you should bring like these, like you can still bring these guys obviously, like especially if you do this EZA first and then jump into the other one, you can bring this guy, but it seems like he is going to reduce damage against Super AGL, so you're not going to do the most damage. You do have both Gammas right here, but again, I mean, we'll see, I guess, how it goes, but from what it looks like, even though Gamma 2 here does a lot of damage, I don't think he's going to be Like, you can still use him again if he is one of your few options, but if we're talking like trying to beat this as fast as possible, Gamma 2, once you get to the higher parts, like probably past 20, his damage is not going to be that great. These two, I feel like this cell, especially if he goes a little crazy, he can probably one-shot this Goku at any part, because the Goku does not reduce damage at all against Extreme AGL, and then like this guy linked up with this guy, if you get them together, he has like a pretty high attack stat turn 1. Yeah, Metal Cooler, you can bring him with this Frieza as well. I guess Birder, no, just don't bother. Let's see, what are some other Extreme AGL units? This Rose is pretty good, I would say. Yeah, there's not really a lot of Extreme AGL options, I would say. Maybe I'm glossing over something, like, big time, but from what I can see, I don't really see, like, some major Extreme AGL unit that's like, oh my god, they are the savior of this EZA, but I would say, like, definitely, if there's one thing I would 100% recommend is if you have both this guy and this guy, run them as a rotation, because he will probably destroy this Goku like every single time you get him. You could also bring this guy as well, because he links up also pretty well with this guy. So, but you mainly just want to stock up on AGL units. Just try to bring some extreme AGL units, because again, the super AGL units are not going to do as much damage as you think they would. So, yeah. You could also bring like the cells, like Int Cell, but Int Cell doesn't like the greatest with this guy, so definitely recommend these two as a rotation. You could bring this hit technically as well, because I think this hit actually, like, if we go right here, I'm pretty sure he shares a lot of links with the God Goku and Hit LR. So you could run them as a rotation as well. Yeah, they share 4 links, you know, that's not bad. I mean, let's see, what do they share? So they share Experienced Fighters, Cold Judgment, Infighter, and then Shocking Speed. Yeah, so they share some key and attack and defense, so it's pretty good. He is Extreme AGL, so he will be able to do damage. This is a World Tournament unit, however. Again, I don't know if some people grind the World Tournament that hard, but I'm not gonna expect you to have him. But yeah, other than that, I can't really think of anything else. You could bring this Metal Cooler. He is okay, I guess. I forgot what this one gets. This one gets more attack on Wicked Bloodline, actually, so I don't know how good this guy would be. I mean, he's mainly a defensive unit, but you just mainly want to focus anything, but you want to mainly try to focus Extreme AGL obviously first, and then Extreme SDR seems like works pretty well, and then also Extreme Tech, yeah, because Extreme Int, Extreme Physical, and then everything else is getting reduced, but Extreme Tech, Extreme Int, and then Extreme AGL. Wait, not Int, sorry, SDR. So yeah, like this guy would work. Is an Extreme Tech unit. This guy could work as well, because he will have his intro buff against this guy since you're going up against a Goku. Hearts, I guess, could be also pretty good. Just basically try to focus extreme units more than super units, even though it will be a little bit slightly harder to do that when, you know, you have, well, these guys are extreme, so these guys will be able to do damage, Extreme SDR, so yeah, even more reason to run these guys if you have them, or at least if you have this guy, try to bring these guys as a friend. Don't bring another one of these guys when you do this EZA. So that's how I would do it. Lastly, I guess, let's go look over their EZA. So this guy, when I first read his details, I honestly thought he was like beyond busted and all that, but I guess I'm not good with math, so I didn't know exactly how these buffs would multiplicate into each other, but it definitely seems like after watching a few videos, like early showcases of him, he is very reliant on this Super Saiyan category ally buff. Like, on the turns where he had 2 other Super Saiyans with him, he looked, I would say, pretty damn good. But on most turns, I would say, when he's probably not going to have, like, You might have one other Super Saiyan, but I don't think it's that realistic for you to expect him to have 2 Super Saiyans every single turn. So like on those other turns, like I feel like even if you manage to get him 4, like you would have to maybe get him 5 if you want him to live a super attack, but even if you get him 4 Rainbow Key Spheres, which would give him the reduced damage reduction, he might not be able to live those like big time super attacks from Metal Cooler Core and all those guys, so we'll see when he comes out tonight. I'll do a bunch of showcases on him. I don't have him rainbowed, but I have him 79%, link level 10, so we'll do a bunch of showcases on him. I will want to point out though that he is pretty good linking partners with a lot of Super Saiyan characters. Now obviously like he shares 7 out of 7 with these guys, but these guys are not Super Saiyans. But he still shares 6 out of 7 with this guy. He's a Super Saiyan, so he's pretty good. These guys as well, they're still pretty good to this day, I would say. They share 6 out of 7. These guys as well, technically, I just don't think they're the greatest per se. Tech Gogeta also technically counts. These guys will be mainly floating half the time, so it's like, I'm not running these two together as a rotation, but like, you know, you could have these guys floating, and then when they float on the turn, with this guy, he will get his extra Super Saiyan buff, so it's like, I would say my main rotation always will probably be this guy and then this guy. So that way, you know, you have this guy guarding in slot 1. He can he'll probably get touched turn 1, but like after that, he's pretty good in slot 1. Then you have this guy in slot 2, so he'll get his extra buffs. And then, you know, let's just say you have Tech Gogeta floating. He gets on the rotation, so you'll get a turn with this guy both Super Saiyan buffs. But then you will have turns where, like, let's say if you're running him on this guy's team, you're going to have these guys floating, or like if you're running Vegeta and Trunks' team, they might be floating, so it's not always going to be like that. When this guy EZAs, he will be a pretty good buff to them, maybe, I mean, like, well, this guy is actually a Super Saiyan 2, so he's not on Super Saiyan, my bad. I was going to say something. This guy is pretty good as well, he's a Super Saiyan character. I just kind of wish, this is like a moment where I wish these guys were better, because like if the 3rd anniversary LRs were just a tad bit better, they would also be pretty good, because again, the Gogeta here shares 6 out of 7 with him. And I'm not saying like this unit's bad, I would definitely say they're still runnable, it's just like I wish they were a little bit better. But yeah, like, it's not the end of the world for him. You also have AGL Gogeta, he's also a Super Saiyan, you can run them together. And then, I know Namek Goku, some people love running this guy, so he's also a Super Saiyan. So, I don't know. We'll see how he looks once we do all the showcases. I only ever watched, like, one showcase of him being ran in, like, Legendary Vegeta event, so I don't actually know what this guy's tanking abilities are. So, we'll see how it goes. Now, for this guy, the amount of discussion I've been seeing about this guy, and, like, kind of, I would say, riots on Twitter a little bit. This guy's actually, I might have underestimated him in my original video. I'll try to not turn this into a rant about this guy, because I could talk about this guy for probably an hour. But I think the reason why I guess I underestimated him is, again, my lack of skill in math. This guy has pretty much every multiplicative buff that you could think of in the game. And once you stack all those buffs together, this guy is shooting out, like, I've seen clips of him shooting out, like, 30, then, like, 35, and then, like, 40, because he can triple super. So, this guy is pretty nuts. Now, what I'm saying is about him having every multiplicative buff, so he stacks attack on supers, that's your first, and he greatly raises attack, so it's 50% every time he supers right there. He has, you know, start a turn buff, so that's stacking with that. He gets buffs every time he gets hit, so that's, you know, stacking on top of that, like, or multiplying into all of this. And then he has 59% on super, that's also multiplying into all of this. And then when you get his passive down here, when you're below 59% HP or less, he gets another 59% attack that's multiplying again into all of this. And then he becomes super effective against all types, which I would say when you're effective against all types, that's like a 1.5% increase in damage. Like, guaranteed critting is literally just double damage in my opinion, but super effective is like times and a half. And then lastly, if, you know, all these buffs multiplying into each other was not enough, on the turn that you shoot out his Spirit Bomb, which is probably the same turn you drop below this HP threshold, you're also going to get another 30% active skill buff multiplying into his 159. Like, remember, active skill buffs, they work better when units have like high start of turn attack, which this guy does. He has 159%. That's pretty high. So this 30% is way more than 30% for him, and then again, you have all of these multiplying into each other. So this guy just kind of turns into a giant nuke. Surprisingly enough, this guy's Spirit Bomb hits harder than the 8th anniversary LRs. Like, it's kind of scary to say that, but like it's true. Like, I've seen many clips where this guy's Spirit Bomb hits way hard, because like the thing is with this guy, a lot of times when you're gonna pop the Spirit Bomb, he's gonna be super effective, and then, you know, you probably want to build this guy mainly crit, so it's like, even if he doesn't crit, the Spirit Bomb is still gonna be super effective, which means it's gonna do a lot of damage no matter what. The thing with the 8th anniversary LRs is if they had guaranteed crits on their Spirit Bombs, or at least super effective, yeah, their damage would be way better. But I would say, like, on the turns where you toss the Spirit Bomb and you don't crit, or again, you don't have super effective, so you just do neutral damage, like, it still does a lot of damage, don't get me wrong. But this guy is just way more, because again, he has so many buffs multiplying into each other. And then, as we've seen it with previously with Pan, it seems like any unit, like, I feel like any unit in the future that you see, like, oh, greatly stack attack, and then they also have an active skill that's a damaging one, expect that active skill to hit like an absolute freight train, because I don't know. Again, I'm not a math guy, I don't know how exactly this works, but apparently greatly stacking attack just works amazing with what's it called, active skills that do damage. And again, the fact that this guy can also triple super basically every turn, well, he has to have a Universal Survival Saga category ally, so he could triple super every turn. So if you get lucky with this guy and he triple supers like 2 or 3 turns in a row, you get like 9 stacks of his buff, you get him fully built up here, and then you drop below 59% health. Like, it doesn't matter what boss you're going up against right now. Any boss in the game as it stands right now, whether it's like even type disadvantage, because again, this guy's attack, he is effective against all types, so it doesn't matter if it's type disadvantage, this guy will kill. He is just that good. Even at, I think, again, mine is 59%, so we'll see how he performs with mine, but I think even at 59%, this guy's Spirit Bomb just hits way too hard. He cannot die. And the fact that they gave him the guard now for the 5 turns, even though his defense, I would say, is still kind of like not the greatest, the guard is enough to where, like, he's not going to get you killed. Like, you'll take some damage on the turns, but it's fine because you have to take damage to get to down here anyways. So it's like you're not hurting yourself by taking a little bit of damage, because you're just going to take a little bit of damage over the few turns, and then you're going to get this off, and then just you win. That's it. And I guess I wouldn't recommend running 2 of this guy as it stands right now, because you're not going to run this team in hard events. But once these guys start getting buffs, like once we get some Universe 7 buffs, like maybe these guys EZA, this guy EZAs, like these guys might not EZA until like maybe next year, but like maybe when they EZA, like again, once we get more reps in Universe 7 buffs, which we will, I know this guy at least 100% is going to EZA this year, so expect that. And we could also get I think this year there will be some Universal Survival Saga. Either like one of the big celebrations going to be USS, or there is going to be at least 1 or 2 months this year where it's going to be USS. So we'll see how it goes. So yeah, the only thing that's holding back this guy right now is the fact that he needs 3 or more reps Universe 7's allies to toss the Spirit Bomb, and he needs a Universal Survival Saga. That's the only thing that's holding this guy back. Once we get like 2 more good options for reps Universe 7, this guy's unstoppable. Like, again, I was never a big fan of this unit. He was just mainly all damage, but the fact that they just, like, they didn't care about, like, oh, hey, maybe we should just balance this guy and just make him like, you know, defense and just keep his offense about the same. No, like they gave him defense, they gave him the guard, and they gave him more defense, so he's not bad defensively. But it's like, again, they just went so hard with his damage that I don't think they tested this guy properly. So we'll see how it goes when he comes out. I'm kind of excited. I'm more excited to showcase this guy than, honestly, I would say the Spirit Bomb Goku, just because this guy, it's gonna be very fun going into the red zones and just every showcase we just one-shot the final phase with this guy's Spirit Bomb. So let me know what you guys think of these guys. These guys are dropping tonight in about like 13 hours from me recording this video. I hope this guide helps you beat the EZAs later tonight, get the stones, and then obviously enjoy these units if you have them, because they are both, I would say, pretty damn broken. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace out.